It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Hawaii head beach volleyball coach, Coach Evan Silberstein. How are you doing today?
Great, Brandon. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to coach in college beach volleyball?
Yeah, I had been a longtime journeyman professional beach player, and we were following the growth of the game at the juniors level. And there was NCAA was kind of talking about making beach volleyball a sport, and I decided that if we were able to ever get it kind of approved, that it would be something that I would really love to do. So I just kind of watched all those big NCAA meetings for a lot of years, and then as it started to come online, then I started kind of putting myself out there in the direction of coaching beach, and it's been great ever since.
What was your college time like at Arizona State?
ASU is good fun. It's a long time ago now. That's way back in the 90s. So it was great. I played on the club indoor team there, and I played a lot of kind of professional pickup. So I'd play all the local pro tournaments in Arizona. I'd be able to get out to California and play some beach tournaments there, and then go back to the East Coast where I'm from, and then play like a nice Eastern circuit. So it allowed me to really train and be a part of the beach volleyball community, 12 months of the year, because the weather was so good.
What was it like, obviously, playing professional volleyball on the circuit of AVP?
Yeah, AVP is kind of like what, that was a big dream, I think, as a young player, to be able to play, with all the guys that I saw on TV and stuff. So really, most of my big playing dreams came true because I was able to play against all the best players in my generation on my days on tour, either playing, training, working my way through qualifiers. So it's satisfying. For a long time, I think they had me down as the shortest guy in history at 5'8". So I'm kind of small. So it made it all that much more fun to kind of get in and entertain and just to have fun and compete with really the best guys in the world.
What was it like playing internationally, going to Mexico, Canada, and Jamaica?
Those were fun. It was, again, similar kind of era after I graduated college and I was working my way onto the pro tour. There'd be, events that we'd hear about. There'd be the Jamaica one was fun, for sure. And they'd put up 10 grand, they'd put up, 5 grand, they'd put up 20 grand or something. So those of us that were kind of, trying to find our way, we'd find our way into these international tournaments sometimes. And each one of those, I've been also over to Israel, so that was pretty neat to go over there. So yeah, it is always cool to see other styles of play, meet other people from other countries, and use volleyball as an opportunity to kind of build a great lifestyle.
What was it like after your playing career getting into coaching college volleyball?
It, like I pointed at it earlier, we were waiting to watch, the whole thing form. They had to get approved from the NCAA, and then it started out as kind of like a provisional sport. It needed a certain amount of following. So that's when I got in at USF. I knew the guys that were coaching there from they were players at Hawaii. One of them was Eyal Zamet, and he asked me to come on as a volunteer. So I started up there, I guess, I don't know, long time ago now, almost 10 years ago, getting things going there. It was great. And I was coaching juniors in that area as well too. So it was a nice combination to do the juniors and get a little taste of the college game.
What was it like, obviously, getting your first college coaching job at San Francisco, and what were some of your accomplishments?
Well, I think just, for me, the accomplishment was just being able to be in the game. I was happy to be there. I remember we had one nice win. We beat Cal over at Cal. That was always a fun one because it's a crosstown rival. That was great. And just getting the experience under some of the more Gilad became the Dartmouth coach after he left USF, but just getting the experience under experienced D1 coaches and getting to work with student athletes. We had a lot of great international student athletes there, and just life on the hilltop was it was a cool place at USF. So I enjoyed that tremendously, and it gave me a good, foothold to move forward.
How was it like in 2015 joining Hawaii's coaching staff and becoming the head coach?
Yeah, it was great. Initially, I didn't, I was the assistant in the beginning, so it was great. I worked with, a staff of people that I had knew prior from outside playing moments and, other outside professional relationships. So, it was a great staff, and I got to learn a lot and, just be a part of a lot of success, and just continue to build a Hawaii brand of beach volleyball, and so it was awesome to get started. I love it out here, and so it was to be able to do my dream of coaching beach volleyball and my dream of living in Hawaii together is a really lucky treat.
What was it like in 2015 winning the Big West Championship?
Yeah, our first Big West Championship, I think we got it it was 2015, 2016 season. So we pulled it off in 2016. That was the first one they had. So, it was just cool. Again, similar kind of stuff as with the NCAA. We had built a conference, and now we were going to do a conference championship. So winning that first one, it was just awesome for the athletes, and it's awesome for us as a staff to have that kind of crowning opportunity at the end of the regular season, and on our way down to the national championship after that. So it was awesome to get a chance to just kind of pioneer and really start off the conference play with a win.
How is it like the following year in 2017-2018 season winning that championship?
Yeah, so we repeated. We won 3 in a row, which was 2016, 2017, and 2018. So the girls, the athletes were just amazing. And, they kept coming at it hungry, and we kind of stayed at the top of the conference there for a nice swing. Since then we've been a little down. We got second place a couple of times in a COVID year. So we're real hungry to get back. It's a big team goal for us this year, actually, is to go ahead and claim that championship, get back in the championship realm of the Big West.
What are some of your coach's accomplishments at Hawaii so far?
Yeah, I mean, the 3 Big West championships, I think is something that we look at. We've had a lot of big wins over time. We've beaten the number 1 ranked team a few times. We beat Pep when they were number 1. We've got nice wins over anytime you beat the Pac-12 is nice, especially the top. So some great wins over UCLA and USC, and we've gotten some lumps from them also too, but it's always nice to come out on top when you're playing those top programs. I think just going to Alabama those first couple of years and getting some big wins there. We had a huge win over Florida State, which catapulted us to the kind of the semifinals. At NCAA was amazing. And then really just working with student athletes. I think I've coached, 10 or 12 different All-Americans at this point. And from them to the all conference players, just to even the second line players, it's just a great opportunity to work with young women who are, turning them into future leaders, and getting them on their way, into, positive, careers, whether it's in beach volleyball or something else. It's a pretty neat thing to be able to do for my work.
What does a typical game day look like on the beach volleyball side?
Yeah, so game days for us, like when we're at home, we play usually down at the beach. It's in Waikiki. It's called Queens Beach. So depending on how the schedule looks, there's the sites all set up, and there's 4 or 6 courts down there, and we'll roll in a couple, maybe 90 minutes before a game. If we have to do some scouting, we'll do that. The way it works in college volleyball is there's often like kind of tournament style. So you might have 2 duels in a day. We might play at 8 a.m. and then again at 12. We might play at 12 and then again at 4. So depending when our call times are, again, we're there about 90 minutes or 2 hours before that, and eating some food and watching the other teams, maybe doing some scouting, and then get ready. Warm up 45 minutes or an hour before, depending how hot it is, and get a good warm up, and get a nice dynamic stretch in, and get each one of the pairs that are going to play, really fine tuned and ready to go. And then we'll usually do, a couple huddles that where we're talking about things. There's always some kind of minor adjustments that we're making. Usually by that point, we've already kind of given the scouting reports and gone over all that work. So usually by the time we get to game day, it's a little bit more just kind of fine tuning and just keeping everybody focused, making sure everybody's all the girls, we got to make sure their hair looks really good. So everyone's like in the tent and they're doing their hair and eating little snacks and just watching each other, just getting ready. So it's an amazing competition once it gets going, but the prelude is usually we're pretty relaxed and just trying to stay focused and get ourselves ready to go.
Who are some of the teams that you've faced in your conference?
Yeah, our two biggest conference rivals are Cal Poly and Long Beach. So Hawaii and Long Beach have an amazing volleyball history, kind of in indoor volleyball. So, and also men's volleyball. Some of the last couple national championships on the men's side were actually Hawaii Long Beach kind of challenges. So anytime Hawaii plays Long Beach in volleyball, it's a really big deal, including beach volleyball. So they have a great program, great history. So it's always fun when we play against those guys. They're very well coached. They've got great athletes. And then we also play Cal Poly. They're the ones that won the last two conference championships. So that's kind of a big target for us right now. They're coached by former gold medalist Todd Rogers. So they do a really nice job. But again, it's always kind of neck and neck between all three of us. And we've come out on top 3 times, and it's always fun. It's always ultra competitive. But there's also, I think beach volleyball's got a lot of collegiality. The coaches, we work hard against each other, but overall off the court, we do a lot of planning together, and we can all get along as friends off the court also. So that it makes it kind of nice to work with people that I respect.
What is it like, obviously, playing those non-conference games, like going to UCal and UCLA?
Yeah, I mean, that in beach volleyball, the conference is only really about a quarter of what we play. So we really play a pretty high percentage of non-conference games. And yeah, those, we go to Manhattan. This year we're going to go to UCLA, Manhattan Beach, and we'll play UCLA and SC. We'll play LSU, which is always a great program. We bring out lots of teams out here. We'll bring Stanford every year. So it's awesome. It's just we're always seeking the best competition that's going to help put us, our athletes, in the most competitive moments, help them strive, and also just to help get us, in line, strength of schedule, record, all the things that we need to qualify for the national championship. That's the big goal that we're always going for.
What does the recruitment process look like for prospective student athletes looking to play college beach volleyball?
Yeah, competitive right now. Beach volleyball is like one of the fastest growing sports in the country right now. So there's clubs, kind of beach clubs coming up all over Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida, all over Texas, obviously California. So there's people playing all over. They're being coached by more and more, people like myself that have had, varying degrees of professional experience. So the coaching is coming up at the juniors level. The recruiting is coming up. So it always kind of boils down to their recruitable age and when we get their contact, and usually we'll, get them in touch with a questionnaire. We might be able to invite some athletes to camps. Once they're old enough, past the certain markers, I can open up a communication with them. We have emails, we do Zooms, phone calls. I'm out on the road going to tournaments. I'm doing clinics. Things like that. And then there's just trusted relationships, people that I've worked with over the years, that if they call me and they say, hey, we have someone, I'm going to be obviously prone to look in those moments when it's people that I trust and they're trying to help us move along. So whole combination of, computer, in person, relationships, and it's kind of steeps out over time, depending on how kind of, right they are relative to the recruiting rules for each year. So it goes for a while. And then eventually they go, with those, we get them generally. I think the rule is that we move in the direction of, verbal commitments, which are conversations that happen between athletes and coaches around what we're going to do. And then nothing becomes really official until signing days. So it's really not till they're seniors that the deals get really like sealed. But for the most part, those are conversations that have been had, over time in the months and maybe years prior to that, to get to that stage where we're signing contracts and LIs like any other sport, and kind of putting them on their scholarships. And we get a fair amount of walk-ons too. So beach volleyball has 6 scholarships for 14 athletes. It's like an equivalency sport. So we do have, certain athletes will come and they're willing to walk on. So, and some of them have gone on to become scholarship athletes, to become starters. So even our walk-ons are very heavily recruited and, super, really high level performers. So It's complex and long, and but it's fun, and it's great to get to know the families and the athletes, and kind of, again, for many of them, I know them from 9th or 10th grade in high school when they're recruits, all the way to when they graduate college. So it's like 6 or 7 year block of their life where I really get to work closely with them, and that's a real privilege.
How has, of course, obviously your professional experience playing professional volleyball helped you into where you are now in your head coaching role as playing head coach at
Yeah.
volleyball?
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing competitively is helpful. My understanding of the game, my ability to, read conditions, read situations, read tendencies in other athletes. When you've done that at a high level, when, you kind of go from pro, maybe down to college or juniors, our ability to see the game, is definitely helpful. And again, as an undersized athlete, I really relied on a lot of what was between the ears instead of, sort of my height or my size. I was athletic, but I had to really think the game through. So I think the combination of my size and playing at a high level kind of worked well together. And then there's really just relationships, which is huge because I've been around the game at a pro level for so long, getting to know so many people that are now involved as other most of the colleagues at, SC or Cal Poly, wherever these guys are coaching, they're people that I played against for many years. So they're kind of old, competitor friends, but it helps to kind of keep things collegial as we work through and do the work we need to, as coaches in the NCAA.
What does, of course, the official visit look like for prospective student athletes looking to go on an official visit to Hawaii?
Yeah, it looks good if you're on an official in Hawaii. Everybody wants to go on one of those, Brandon. So we don't do a ton because they're expensive. So it's really for like our most kind of really highest target recruits for that'll come out on officials. We do get some athletes to come out on unofficials as well, where they're paying their own way to be over there. If they're really interested. Sometimes those are the recruited walk-ons or just smaller percentage players. When the bigger the higher dollar scholarship athletes often will get officials, and they get to go to the beach, and they get to go, they stay in a local hotel in Waikiki, and they will come to campus and have academic meetings and do tours with me and the other, coaches, and, they'll get to meet the athletes and see the dorms. Usually we can get them to go to it like an indoor sporting event, maybe volleyball, maybe men's volleyball or women's volleyball has a big event that they get to go to and see 5,000 fans watching volleyball. So we take them to the beach and we take them to campus and take them around to lots of fun cafes and different things in the neighborhoods here in Hawaii, just to get them acquainted. And we show them the grind too. We show them the weight room, and we show them practices, and let them talk to the athletes and see what the real story is from them too. So it's I think it's always a treat to get recruited in Hawaii, because it's a lot of fun to be out here. And I think athletes, whether they end up here or not, always kind of cherish those days they get to be here.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you have helped build and has built for Hawaii beach volleyball?
Yeah, I can. I think there's a lot of pride in what we represent, which for us is the university, but it's also like the state and the people and kind of the aloha spirit, because we are Hawaii. When we travel, when we go to Alabama, all the local people in Alabama are always, oh my God, you guys are from Hawaii. Well, or I got married there 20 years ago, or I've always wanted to go, or I'm going to go next year. Where should I go? Like, people love to kind of like, think about it and have their memories from there. So I think our athletes, more than most, really are ambassadors of aloha. So we definitely take that seriously. And then I think beyond that, we're just, we're committed to excellence. Hawaii also has a great reputation for volleyball, whether it's on the men's pro side, on the international, women's side, or just our college teams. For per capita, we're probably some of the best volleyball in the world per capita. Serbia's up there too. A little shout out to the Serbs. They're small, but they're mighty. And I think similarly, Hawaii, we just have had a lot of success in our volleyball. So we take that a lot of pride in a quality of excellence there, but also always kind of maintaining that feeling of aloha as we go, making sure that we are respectful of the game, respectful of our opponents, respectful of referees and everything around us. We like to carry that spirit with us when we go, and also just work to compete to the highest levels of excellence possible. So we've been there, and we're trying to get back to the very top of the game.
What advice would you give prospective student athletes looking to play college beach volleyball?
Prospective student athletes, play a lot and train with the best coaches you can find. Play in as many different environments as you can do it. So if you're from North Carolina, get down to Florida to play some tournaments. So you see more players, you see more environments, you really see kind of a better taste of the level. Sometimes when we regionalize too much, we don't really have the full picture of what's out there. Obviously, the closer they get to college, fitness is really a big deal. It is. Beach volleyball really was an extreme sport before there was X Games and all that. It's hot. And if you're in Florida or California or Hawaii, it might be 90 degrees and windy, and you got to kind of really be able to brave the elements. So take good care of yourself, stay hydrated, do all the things that you need to so that you can be in those competition moments and really giving your all. So I think really improving fitness and strength and conditioning to kind of go in line with all the skills training. It's really where the college game is going, is just, the best athletes, but really that are in the best shape also too. So that combination is really the difference maker when you get to college.
What advice would you give future college coaches looking to go into college coaching in beach volleyball, whether it's being head coach or obviously assistant coach?
Yeah, there's more and more happening. So definitely get into it and do it because you love it. It's not necessarily something that we're not making Nick Saban's salary, that's for sure. So do it because you love it. But if you do, definitely get involved in the juniors game if you're able, and watch some of those clubs that go to some of the national tournaments. So you start to learn the flow of the culture that's happening. And then definitely volunteer if you're able to. If there's a local college, find a way to get in there, do some volunteering, learn about the college game, definitely get educated on who the programs are, who's having success, attend clinics. There's some national conventions. AVCA puts out some great conventions, and there's more and more kind of continuing education going on from coaches like myself and others that have been around the game for a while. So people are putting out content. So definitely just soak up the content, kind of immerse yourself in the culture. And I think if you do that and you've got, a good head and some good experience, then it's likely that some opportunities can start to arise.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the Hawaii Beach Volleyball program at?
It's UH Beach Volleyball on Twitter, Insta, and Facebook. So I'm not too frequently up on those anymore, but definitely follow UH Beach Volleyball on Instagram is one of our big ones, and same as on Twitter and Facebook. So love to see people out there following us there.
Thank you again, Coach Evan, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Hawaii Beach Volleyball.
Awesome, Brandon. Thanks so much for your time. Aloha.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Evan, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks, man. Aloha.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.